Hello, our Lives channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive upcoming storylines that are set to rock Salem during the week of October 6th to 10th, where heartbreak, family drama, shocking confrontations, and desperate attempts to preserve love will take center stage in ways that will leave viewers absolutely stunned. Holly's heartbreak and desperate escape plan. Holly Jonas finds herself at an emotional crossroads that threatens to change her life forever. The young woman has been completely devastated after witnessing what she believes to be an intimate moment between Tate Black and Sophia Choi, a scene that has completely shattered her trust and broken her heart into a million pieces. What Holly doesn't realize is that Sophia has been manipulating situations behind the scenes, creating scenarios designed to drive a permanent wedge between the young couple who genuinely care for each other. Holly's pain runs so deep that she makes a shocking declaration in the weekly promo, emotionally stating that she never wants to return to Salem again, revealing the depth of her anguish and sense of betrayal. The devastated teen will tell her mother Nicole Walker that she's merely visiting temporarily, but her true intention is far more permanent. She's planning to leave Salem forever and never look back. Tate, who has been caught in Sophia's web of lies and manipulation, may eventually discover Holly's real plans before it's too late. Day's spoilers suggest that Tate could rush to the airport in a desperate attempt to stop Holly from leaving, or he might even chase her all the way to France in a romantic gesture to win back the love of his life. Sarah confronts Sophia about baby lies. Sarah Horton Kyriakis finds herself in an incredibly difficult position as she pieces together the disturbing truth about Sophia Choi's lies regarding her baby. As Sophia's physician, Sarah is bound by HIPAA regulations that legally prevent her from disclosing her patient's confidential medical information. However, Sarah knows something that could change everything for multiple families in Salem. She's aware that Sophia's claims about having a baby girl are completely false. Sarah's medical records clearly indicate that Sophia gave birth to a baby boy, not the girl she claimed to have given to adoptive parents. Brady Black will inform Sarah that the DNA test results don't match, leading him to believe that Tesoro, the baby being cared for by Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark, isn't actually Tate and Sophia's child. Armed with this knowledge and deeply concerned about the consequences of Sophia's deception, Sarah will confront the young mother in a private conversation where she'll demand answers about whether Sophia has been lying about the baby's biological father all along. Sarah will issue a stern warning to Sophia, predicting that the truth always has a way of surfacing no matter how carefully secrets are hidden. The confrontation promises to be intense as Sarah struggles between her professional obligations and her personal relationships with Brady and Tate, both of whom deserve to know the truth about Tesoro. Jeremy Horton's unexpected return. Stephanie Johnson receives an unwelcome shock when her troubled ex-boyfriend Jeremy Horton suddenly reappears in Salem, bringing with him a complicated history of emotional abuse and toxic behavior. The weekly promo captures Stephanie's genuine alarm as she encounters Jeremy and demands to know what he's doing back in town. Jeremy, now portrayed by actor Michael Rourke after taking over the role from Trevor Donovan, arrives with flowers and claims he wants to make amends for his past mistakes. During his previous time in Salem years ago, Jeremy was romantically involved with Stephanie, but their relationship was deeply problematic and characterized by lies, criminal activities, and emotional manipulation that left lasting scars. Jeremy will admit that he treated Stephanie terribly during their time together, acknowledging that he was in a very dark place mentally and emotionally back then. He insists that he's changed dramatically since those troubled days and desperately wants an opportunity to prove that he's become a better person. However, Stephanie remains understandably skeptical and frightened by his sudden reappearance, especially since she's recently taken the significant step of moving in with Alex Kyriakis. The tension between Stephanie's past and present creates a complicated situation that threatens to disrupt her current happiness and sense of security. DiMera and Kyriakis family war. The bitter corporate battle between the DiMera and Kyriakis families reaches a boiling point as Tony DiMera makes his dramatic announcement in the weekly promo. Tony boldly declares that the DiMeras will reclaim what rightfully belongs to their family, referencing Xander Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis' controversial hostile takeover of DiMera Enterprises. Standing alongside Maggie Kyriakis, Xander firmly responds that while the DeMaras can pursue their company back, Titan Industries must remain with the Kyriakis family. The conflict stems from the fact that Xander and Philip managed to seize control of DeMara Enterprises during a period when the company was vulnerable due to leadership instability, with Kristen DeMara being ousted and EJ DeMara recovering from being shot. Philip used a forged document to claim half of Titan in a lawsuit against Xander, which Tony has discovered and is now using as leverage in his legal battle. Tony has filed a lawsuit challenging the legitimacy of Titan's takeover, giving the Kyriakis brothers just 24 hours to respond to his demands. Maggie Kyriakis, who owns part of Titan herself, attempts to intervene by confronting Tony directly and appealing to their former friendship, hoping to negotiate a peaceful resolution that won't result in a devastating courtroom battle. The stakes couldn't be higher as both powerful families face the possibility of losing their respective corporate empires. Chad's secret romance exposed. At the Horton family home, young Thomas DeMara creates an explosive moment when he innocently announces that his father Chad DeMara is dating Kat Green, catching Jennifer Horton Devereaux, Jack Devereaux, and Julie Williams completely off guard. The revelation comes at a particularly sensitive time since Thomas has recently learned from Rachel Black that Kat once impersonated his late mother Abigail Devereaux DeMara, a traumatic discovery that has shaken the young boy's sense of trust. Rachel, known for her troublemaking behavior inherited from her mother Kristen DeMara, dropped this bombshell during an argument with Thomas, also revealing that Chad has been lying about his relationship with Kat by claiming they're just friends. Thomas had no particular issues with Kat before learning about her deception and his father's dishonesty about their romantic involvement. The family gathering turns uncomfortable as Jennifer, Jack, and Julie all process this information about Chad moving on romantically with someone who pretended to be his deceased wife. Chad will be forced to have difficult conversations with Thomas, attempting to explain the complicated situation and repair the damage to their father-son relationship. Meanwhile, Jennifer seeks advice from Kayla Johnson about the situation, expressing her fury over Kat getting close to Chad and her concerns about the impact on the children. The family crisis threatens to pull Chad and Kat apart as he's forced to choose between his new relationship and protecting his son's emotional well-being. The upcoming week promises non-stop drama as Holly contemplates leaving Salem forever. Sarah confronts Sophia about her web of lies. Jeremy's return threatens Stephanie's newfound happiness. The DeMara Kyriakis corporate war escalates to dangerous new levels, and Chad's secret romance with Kat creates devastating ripples throughout the Horton and DeMara families. These interconnected storylines will test relationships, expose long-hidden secrets, and force beloved characters to make impossible choices that will reshape their lives forever. Next, Friday, October 3rd, 2025. Today on Days of Our Lives, Kat and Chad are on cloud nine. Romance has always been a complicated thing in Salem. Generations of viewers have seen it play out on the faces of beloved characters who love deeply, hurt even more deeply, and somehow find themselves caught between duty, passion, and family expectations. On this particular day in Salem, October 3rd, 2025, we see the beginning of something new and powerful between two characters who have been circling each other for what feels like an eternity. Chad DeMara and Kat. For weeks now, their story has been building, sideways glances, lingering touches, words left unspoken. Viewers have been watching with anticipation, waiting for the inevitable spark to catch fire. And at long last, it has. The chemistry that had been simmering beneath the surface between Chad and Kat has finally burst into the open, and the two find themselves practically floating with joy as they run into each other in Salem Square. A meeting full of sunshine and smiles. The moment they see each other across the busy square, the world seems to stop for them. Chad's grin is so wide it seems to light up the space, and Kat's laughter rings out like music in the autumn air. There is no mistaking it. They are a couple very much in the first flush of happiness, and the people walking around them cannot help but notice their glow. For Chad, this is more than just romance. It's freedom. It's relief. After years of carrying heavy burdens, grief over Abigail, responsibility toward his children, and the constant shadow of the DiMera family legacy. Chad is finally allowing himself to take a breath and enjoy life again. Being with Kat gives him the kind of hope that had been missing for so long. Kat, on the other hand, while equally swept up in this new romance, cannot help but worry. She knows Salem. She knows the DiMeras. And she knows all too well that Chad's family might not welcome her into the fold with open arms. The DiMera name carries power, and with that power comes suspicion, judgment, and often cruelty. So while Kat allows herself to smile and bask in Chad's affection, there's a shadow of doubt in her eyes. She whispers her fears about how the family will react, about what this love might cost them both. But Chad will have none of it. He brushes her worries aside with the kind of confidence only a man in love can summon. For him, keeping their relationship hidden is no longer an option. He wants it out in the open, free from secrecy, free from guilt. If his family objects, so be it. As far as Chad is concerned, nothing is more important than what he and Kat are beginning to build together. Paulina enters the picture. Unfortunately, Salem never allows its couples too much uninterrupted bliss. No sooner does Chad leave than Paulina Price, never one to mince words, storms onto the scene. She corners Kat in the square, her eyes sharp, her voice carrying a tone that could silence an entire crowd. Paulina is not interested in gossip or romance. Her mind is on business, and her question cuts straight to the point. Where is E.J. DiMera? The mayor has been thrown into chaos ever since the recent blackouts swept across Salem, plunging the town into darkness and confusion. Many in Salem believe that E.J., with his DiMera ties and his endless thirst for power, played a hand in orchestrating it. Paulina, who never tolerates being left in the dark, literally or figuratively, wants answers, and she thinks Kat might be the one to provide them. The intensity of the confrontation leaves Kat rattled. Though she tries to keep her composure, Paulina's presence is overwhelming. And while Paulina eventually storms off, dissatisfied with Kat's lack of information, the encounter leaves Kat shaken to her core. A phone call that changes everything. As the square settles back into its normal hum of life, Kat stands alone, her heart racing. Should she tell Chad about the confrontation? Should she try to track down E.J., as Paulina demanded? But Kat makes a surprising choice, one that may have far-reaching consequences. Instead of calling E.J., the man Paulina so desperately wants answers from, Kat reaches for her phone and dials Rafe Hernandez. Why Rafe? That is the question viewers will be asking themselves as this episode unfolds. Was it instinct? A desire for safety? Or perhaps an admission that she trusts Rafe's honesty more than E.J.'s shadowy schemes? The decision may look small on the surface, just a phone call. But in Salem, even the smallest choices can change lives forever. Calling Rafe instead of E.J. could place Kat squarely in the middle of a new conflict, one that threatens to pull her away from her fresh romance with Chad and into the dangerous political games swirling around the DiMera empire. Love, secrets, and Salem drama. What makes this episode so powerful is the contrast. On one side, we see two people falling in love, sweet, simple, and filled with joy. On the other, we see the looming threats of power, politics, and betrayal. Salem is rarely kind to lovers, and Chad and Kat's happiness may already be under siege from forces beyond their control.